Chip pass is caught. That's going to be a first down for the Ravens. 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, Ravens! And the crowd goes wild.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Play Action Podcast. This is episode 15. I'm your host, wide receivers coach Lamont Johnson.
I'm Coach Montgomery, the defensive coordinator. And head football coach Jonathan Coddington. Good to be back with you guys. Good to be back on. You know, we've now finished the 2024 season. We just had our team banquet, awards, all that type of stuff. This past week. Great to get to celebrate all just the individual accomplishments, team accomplishments, and excited to be able to kind of give some shout outs and some love to some of our guys that won some awards. And so, start with our kind of conference awards. These awards are voted on by other coaches in the conference. So each and every one of these 10 guys, got noticed and recognized by opposing teams' coaches, whether they stood out on film, had big games, just had some consistency over the course of the year. Cool to get to recognize these guys. First time in a long time that we've had 10 guys get awarded by the conference, as well as it's the first time since 2019 we had 2 guys be elected to the first team of all conference. And we'll start with those 2 guys. Defensive lineman Connor Huffman was a first team all conference guy. He had been honorable mention the past couple of years. Coach, you want to talk a little bit about Connor and his season?
Yeah, I did a great job. Worked hard in the off season, got faster, took his career stats on tackles for loss up to the 6th spot, got real close to that 5 spot, but missed it just by a little bit. But in the process, ended up first in the conference and TFLs for the year. So super proud of him and what he's done. Great example of what we try to have here, and hopefully we can replicate him in the future.
Absolutely, definitely left his mark, on the program. Other first-team all-conference player, Tone Hurd, got named first team both as a defensive back, also as a kick return specialist as well too. Had a great year, obviously, in both phases. What kind of stood out about Tone this year?
Yeah, Tone was great. Return yards, again, the speed that kid has is exceptional. Did a phenomenal job, even on some field goal returns as well this year. And then, for us on the game plan side, when you have a guy that can lock down one side of the field, he probably was, I'm not sure the stat exists yet, but he probably had the least amount of targets in the conference. Ended up having a couple of touchdowns or a couple of interceptions. Returned one for a touchdown that got called back, but definitely was a guy that people threw away from or didn't target very much during the course of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, and on the return game was a guy, when the ball was in his hands, hold your breath because it could be electric at any moment, and so did some exciting things, for us. Had several guys named to the second team all conference. Coach, one of your receivers, Julian Hogan, who was named, for the second year in a row, second team, third year in a row on the all conference team. Obviously had a great career with the Ravens, had a good season. Tell us a little bit about Julian.
Yeah, I know having that addition to our room, when we got here, him transferring from a defensive background, I know he felt good, for him to be able to score some touchdowns and stuff, but he was a guy who had a lot of reps, a lot on his plate at the time, and did a great job of handling things. He got another award this year with 30 consecutive starts. So like I said, him having a full plate and a big load to carry, I definitely think that he definitely did a good job with everything that we asked him to do. So tip my hat to him. Excited for the things that he kind of has lined up in front for him moving forward.
For sure. On the opposite side of the ball, a pair of second team all-conference linebackers. We'll start with Jake Simpson, second year in a row that he's been named to the all-conference team. Was a force of the defense, captain of the team as well too. Tell us a little bit about Jake.
Yeah, so Jake's a captain. Connor Huffman was a captain as well on defense, but Jake had a phenomenal year. Another kid who just crushed it in the weight room in the off-season, got bigger, got stronger, got faster, and was first in the conference in solo tackles, and then also first in the conference in total tackles. So kind of the quarterback on the defense for us this year, really helped us get lined up, was great, put the kids where they needed to be when they needed to be there, and then really only came off the field in a couple of losing game situations, but did a phenomenal job for us, and we look for big things out of him next year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Next to him, another staple of defense, Gavin Renner's named second team all-conference at the other linebacker spot, another anchor of the defense.
Yep. Yeah, so Gavin's kind of the stats don't jump out on you on Gavin, but he's kind of the glue guy. Had a solid stat year again, 2 years in a row, but kind of the glue guy on defense. Could play some linebacker, play some D end. We could even put his hand in the dirt if we wanted to. Don't tell him. But really did a great job special teams as well. Same thing for Jake on special teams. And then Gavin had a couple of plays that kind of stand out. The fourth down stop is kind of diving over the pile there at Franklin, and then had a big fourth down stop against Rose Holman, chasing down an all-conference running back and making that solo tackle on a kid he probably should have got juked by right there on their sideline. So had a couple of plays, like I said, that kind of stick out. So looking forward for, again, big things from him next year as well too.
Yeah, absolutely. Then, as we move back to the secondary, he had a breakout year, for us. Safety Ricky Bell got named second team, all conference as well. Showed up a lot both in the pass game and in the run game.
Yep. Yeah, Ricky did a great job for us. We had him here last year. Maybe I might have had him out of position, outside linebacker, but once we got him up on the strong safety and played that too high look, really had a great spring for us and kind of solidified that was the role that he was in and needed to be in. And again, on the tackle side, second in the conference in solo tackles, and then third in the conference in total tackles. And really, Ricky's another kid who kind of gutted it out, played hurt in a lot of situations or with some injuries, but never came off the field, and had his hands on it. If he could catch, he'd have probably led the conference in interceptions. So he had his hands on a lot of different footballs this year, and did again a nice job of really setting the defense and the defensive backfield.
Absolutely. Then we had 4 guys that got into the honorable mention team all conference. Over on the offensive side of the ball, Quinn Draband, at offensive line, second year in a row that he's been named to the all conference team. Coach, tell us a little bit about Quinn.
Quinn, he also was a captain for us this year. Got voted on by his peers, which definitely says a lot about him. But he's a guy who been here since we got here. Kind of in the same class with Carter Huffman. He does a lot of great things of abiding the Raven way and helping our guys, that needed the help. So very excited to see what he has lined up, and very thankful for everything that he gave us.
Absolutely. Then on the defensive line, Siddiqui Traore, was named the all-conference honorable mention team. Had a really strong, early, part of the season. Was consistent, for us. Battled through some health issues as well too. Was a really tough guy for us on the D-line. Tell us a little bit about Siddiqui's year.
Yeah, did a great job. Another kid. I've said it a few times now on the defensive side. He amazing off-season in the weight room. Got bigger, faster, stronger. This is a kid who probably took about 10 snaps as a freshman, and then we weren't even quite sure if we wanted him to come back. And sometimes because he just had a lot of stuff going on, but when he came back and got all in the spring, he worked his tail off in spring ball, and then early in the season had a back-to-back sack situation against Oberlin, and ended up with 4 sacks in that game. And then was really in the mix. I think teams kind of game plan for him a little bit from time to time. He was inches away from a handful of other sacks, but another guy who's just finished his sophomore season, going to head into his junior year, and should just jump off the charts and make a big impact for us on the TFLs and the sack side of things as well.
Yeah. Though we don't have this award, he probably would have been up for it if he did. Most improved, without a doubt, from one year to the next.
Absolutely.
He took some massive leaps there. Now, a new guy to us, not new to college football, but new to the Ravens this year. Zaire Prelu was, an all-conference honorable mention defensive back as well too. Joined us back in the spring, went through spring ball. Was named a captain this fall by his teammates, and did some great things in the secondary for us. Tell us a little bit about Zaire's season.
Yeah, Zaire did a great job. The third defensive captain as well. I kind of look at him as a glue guy, kind of a behind-the-scenes guy. He's always checking in with guys, seeing how they're doing on and off the field, and then on the field does some special things. When he's healthy, he makes some incredible athletic plays. Ended up second in pass breakups in the conference this year. Scored our defensive touchdown this year. Got probably half a yard from scoring a second defensive touchdown, and so just does a phenomenal job for us as well. And like I said, kind of that behind the scenes guy. Not super vocal, but man, he knows what to do and how to do it, and he's always coaching the kids up, kind of again behind the scenes and working with them, and so did a great job, and we're looking for big things from him next year as well.
Absolutely. Our final all-conference honorable mention was one of our specialists, Elijah St. Pierre, senior punter for us. He did a good job in some situations, flipping the field for us, pinning down, deep, in the red zone with a couple punts inside the 20, and also as a kickoff specialist, was a holder as well too. Showed up in a lot of different ways in the special teams, and so it was really cool to get to honor and celebrate obviously those 10 guys as they got nominated as some different accolades within the conference. In addition to those, a couple guys already mentioned with Siddiqui and with Tone, getting named Players of the Week within the conference as well too. You mentioned Siddiqui's big game against Oberlin. Not only was he named to the HCAC, Player of the Week that week, but also named to the national team, D3 national team. That was awesome effort for him in week 2. Then Tone against Franklin named the special teams Player of the Week in the conference that week for the return touchdown, and some great other really good individual performances, but really cool to honor those guys. So within our banquet, getting honor those, that group of guys, getting to honor our seniors was awesome. We also have a variety of team awards that we got to our guys voted on, kind of voted for who they wanted to see at different spots. Within those, we had the offense, defense, special teams players of the year, which those were guys that we talked about with all conference. Julian as an offensive player of the year, Connor defensive player of the year, Tone special teams player of the year. Any other notes? I know you got to share a little bit about those guys, but other notes to add on, to kind of those guys.
No, I think on the defensive side, I think it was, we had 3 or 4 guys that probably could have won that defensive player of the year. I think, again, Connor kind of embodies what we were trying to do, and then for the career aspect of what he did, I think that's outstanding. And I think it'll be another good race next year for defensive player of the year. I think there's 2 or 3 guys that could really impact it and have a shot at it, and be, again, another close race.
Yeah, no, same. Julian got offensive MVP basically, and that was great to see. Like I said, he's a guy who can practice, getting a lot of reps on his plate, doing what he needs to do, taking advantage of the opportunities that he's given, and offense is gonna look a little bit different without him. And that's the exciting, fun part about going into the spring. So he definitely left a lot for guys in the room to kind of pick apart and salvage, and then kind of add to their repertoire. So excited to see kind of steps up for us on the offensive side.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, a lot of the other awards kind of go along with, kind of the foundations of our program. Pillars we talked about, the Raven Way. We talk about loving one another. Part of, loving one another is being a great teammate and serving, others. Our scout team players of the year, voted on by, their teammates. I think are guys that absolutely embody and show that. Our offensive scout team, player of the year was quarterback Cody Eastgate. Defensive Scout Team Player of the Year, defensive back Braden Clemens, Special Team Scout Player of the Year, was an offensive player as well too, but did a lot of special team stuff for us. Isaiah Clemens, talk to us a little bit about those guys and kind of what they did, kind of bring in. It's cool because we get to coach them positionally, on offense and on defense, but then the offensive scout players interact with our defensive staff a lot. The defensive scout players interact with our offensive staff a lot. So, what do you guys want to share about, those 3 guys?
I'll probably say with Braden winning the defensive scout team defensive player of the year, I was very excited for him because he was a guy midway through the season, even during the recruiting process. Me and Coach Montgomery were like, is he an offensive guy, defensive guy? He played a boatload of offense in high school, but ended his high school career on the defensive side of the ball, and came in as a DB. Halfway through camp, partially beginning of the season, he's like, hey coach, I might switch to a receiver, man. I don't know if the DB is working for me. And I'm like, well, let's stick it out to the spring. Let's see what happens. And for me, if I'm in that situation after having that conversation, scratch that, coach. I'm staying at DB. I got defensive scout team player of the year for the team. They noticed me. They recognized me. Everybody noticed and recognized me. So hopefully he kind of leaned into that going into the spring, and take advantage of some of the opportunities that'll come his way. But I know I'm excited for him just to kind of see what he does regardless. He's a great kid, great guy to have on the team. Does everything we ask him the way that we ask him to do it. So that's exciting.
And I'll say for Cody and Caleb did a phenomenal job. I think Cody got him in the nod on the voting, but I made the comment a couple of times during the year. Cody he would have played on some other teams. Like he might have even been the starter against the team up north that we don't say their name. I felt like he threw the ball great. He would expose some things that we needed to fix or do better on defense. And then, and Braden actually playing DB and scout offense as well for us. Those are kids who you know, they know they're probably not going to play on Saturday. In Braden's case, I'm not sure Braden missed a practice all year.
Nope.
And so that was outstanding. We had a couple of guys like that didn't win the award, but there's a handful of guys that were defensive guys that were Scout O, Scout D, and again, probably knew they weren't going to take a snap. And got a couple of special teams reps, but super proud of some of those guys. And so it's nice to see Braden and Cody, you know, for sure.
Absolutely.
And then with Zeke, Isaiah Clemens, you know, he's a guy who is running back, you know, but plays some scout team receiver for you also. He was always ready to go when it comes down for special teams. You know, he's one of the guys where it's like, you got to pull back just in case that guy's getting a shot of water. Oh, where is he? Where is he? I'm ready, coach. And it's like, hold on, he's getting some water. But you know, way to be ready to go. And he knows what's going on, and he's just hungry, you know. And we got a handful of those guys who are ready to step up when guys are, you know, not prepared or not ready. And, you know, it just makes it that much exciting as those guys continue to go through their college career.
Absolutely. So, you know, next award that, you know, was voted on by teammates goes along with our you know, kind of, you know, idea of, you know, having contagious positive energy is our Juice Man Award. And, you know, this guy, you know, brought the juice for us on the sidelines, you know, in games. You know, he wasn't a guy that necessarily, in some ways, had to do that. You know, his situation, you know, was he had an injury early in the year, didn't get to play a whole lot. And some guys in that moment would decide to give up or decide to quit, decide to just stop showing up. But he kept showing up. Not only was he there, but he brought the juice on the sidelines. Leonard Rand did a great job. And, you know, Coach, you recruited him. You got to coach him on the defensive line early part of the year. Tell us a little bit about Leonard and why was he voted, you know, as that award?
Leonard's just a guy who's going to give you everything you got. You know, he's a guy who just naturally has that in him. I'm excited to see him get off the sideline and bring that juice while he's making some plays next season. But, you know, like you said, he didn't have to do that, you know, but that also got him a seat on the bus to some of those further out road games, you know, because it's not like we got to worry about him or him getting into things. He's a great guy, good grades, but he cares. He cares. And even just that little bit of pumping some confidence in his guys on the sideline, you know, even if he's 40 yards back behind the ball, you know, you're still going to hear it, still going to feel it. So I'm excited to see him kind of get more involved in the defense.
Yeah, we're excited for what next year brings for him for sure. You know, and then I think from having gone through an injury as a player and knowing how difficult that is to come to practice every day when you can't be a part of what's happening and still, you know, have a smile across your face, a genuine smile across your face is hard to do. And so he was at practice almost every day this year, good weather, bad weather, warm weather, cold weather, and then certainly on Saturday, you know, didn't stand on the sideline and pout, definitely got involved, helped coach guys up, and so very fitting, and again, excited for what we're going to see for him next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Talk to, you know, everybody about find ways to add value, and you know, even if you aren't, it may not always be in the production on the field. There's a lot of other ways too, and it's not very common that a guy gets, you know, to get on the bus for every single game, and you know, that was the value you brought. Did a great job. You know, our next award that was voted on by teammates was, you know, the All In Award. You know, a guy who, you know, kind of embodies, you know, the culture of being all in regardless of the situation. And this guy, man, you know, he started several games. There were some games he didn't start. There were some times where he played, you know, almost every snap of defense. Some, you know, that it was minimal. He played special teams, you know, at each and every game on pretty much every unit. You know, that was Matt Shams. And he showed he was a, you know, an all-in teammate, you know, throughout the season, throughout the summer, throughout the, you know, camp, throughout the year. Tell us a little bit about Matt and, you know, why did he get voted this award by his teammates?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's you know, you look for leadership. I've always said, you know, if you can't be the leader, lead from where you're at, and I felt like Matt embodied that for sure. And those kind of people are special. I've used the term glue on the defensive side. We've got 4 or 5 guys that speaks to who they were. They were unified. They were disciplined. You know, they did a great job, and so Matt was kind of that glue as well. Multi-positional player, played some receiver before he transferred here, played some DB, played some outside linebacker, even got him in defensive end because he's one of our top 5 weight room guys as well. So, you know, just the ability to have him in a lot of different roles was great. Never really complained about it, you know, did what we asked him to do. And I think, again, on the defensive side, we used a lot of different packages this year, and so there were a couple of weeks in a row where you'd be on the field for, you know, 30 or 40 snaps, and there's a couple where you might only be on the field for 10. And so, you know, that just kind of the way the defense rolled, and they did a great job in everything we had to do. And we never had to worry about him knowing what he was supposed to do. And honestly, when you don't play every snap, if you are all in, you'll know exactly what to do when you're supposed to do it. And so that was again a special part for him. And again, I'll keep using the word glue. He's another glue guy for us.
Absolutely. We talk about the team identity. We want to be the toughest, the hardest working, the most competitive team. And we've got the toughest, hardest working, most competitive, award. Voted on by teammates of who embodies those things. And there were several names that came up. But one that without a doubt stood out was Jake Simpson. Linebacker, and is one of the absolutely one of the best weight room guys, and helps lead a lot in that area. Definitely a guy that competes and works hard. Tell us a little bit about why Jake won this award.
Yeah, I think this one goes all the way back to January of last year. When we came back in and we just weren't happy or satisfied with what we had done on the defensive side, and he was a kid who, again, was out of position when he got recruited someplace else. He came here, we put him where we thought he could be successful, and honestly, there were some things that he wasn't great at last year. He was definitely a downhill kid, and could get down and mix it in the tackles, but he didn't run well, and he knew that, and we talked a lot about, here's some things that you're really good at, here's some things that we need you to get better at to stay on the field every snap. And we couldn't take him off the field because he worked to make sure he was there. I know he played hurt, or injured almost every game, but he also brought some of that toughness. You have to find that one vocal guy or the one or two vocal guys on the defensive side, and sometimes on defense you just got to have a guy who's going to bow up in the face of adversity. And even though the win-loss result wasn't what we wanted it to be, he was the guy who bowed up anytime things got tough. And so that's, again, super excited about what he's going to bring to the table. Hopefully there's 3 or 4 of those guys next year that bow up and be like, this is not the way it's going to be anymore. And he definitely kind of embodied that as well.
Absolutely. Definitely, tough both physically and mentally, and that dude just works. Well, the final award that is a senior award. They added a legacy award. We talk a lot about the legacy here. Legacy, without a doubt, is on the football field. It's the production and just the long history of AU football is awesome. Almost 90 years. Of football, teams that have been championship teams, players that have just done some awesome things out there on the field. But the legacy here is also in how things are done. It's in the relationships. It's the impact that somebody has on this program. And almost hands down, Connor Huffman was the added legacy award. Both for what he's done on the field, and off the field. If you guys want to both kind of speak to some of those things, or kind of some things that stuck out to you about Connor and his career here.
Connor Huffman is definitely one of one. I've told him and his family, we're going to miss Connor a lot more than he's going to miss us. Just more so on that side of things, just how he carries himself overall. Connor's a great guy. What you see is what you're going to get. And for some people, it's like, is this real? But it's like, yeah, he genuinely cares about you and you're involved in what he's doing. He's going to have your back, and you're going to feel that and know that. So to see all the hard work that he's done over the 4 years, through coaching changes and a lot of inconsistencies that a lot of guys are just throwing the towel with, to see him finish everything out and see it through to the end, definitely excited to be a part of his legacy here at Anderson, and excited to see what he does next in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the off the field things, I think we could probably do a 10-minute section on that. The on the field things, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. The weight room numbers speak for themselves. And then I think, again, it's a kid who you look at from our perspective as a staff, we look at a kid who literally was put into situations last year where he just was there to take on a double team, and he wasn't put in position to make plays or use any of his talents other than just get blocked. And so it'd been real easy for him to pack it up or have a bad attitude, not work hard, and just finish his senior year of football. And again, another kid who just drew the line in the sand and said, I'm done with it being this way, and I'm going to keep working hard until it changes. And I think we'll look back, and Coach Delph talks about this. You can look back and see where it changed, and you may not have all the wins under your belt to go with that, but he'll be one of those kids that we point to, in 3 or 4 years from now, where we go, he was one of the kids who helped change it. And so even though he may not have all those wins under his belt, as a result, he'll definitely be somebody that people point to and say for sure he helped change it.
Yeah, absolutely. On the field, It was great to get to coach him for 2 years. We wish we would have had more with him, without a doubt. But the off the field stuff, obviously, just who he is as a person. He's a better person than he is a football player. It's nothing saying anything bad about him as a football player, but he's just that much better of a guy. I know he's made a big impact around campus, around the community, volunteers, at church with the local community, there at the middle school as well too. He's made an impact on my kids. My kids have identified him as their favorite football player, and the other day Kelsey, the boys had their 5th birthday. They had the birthday party. Kelsey asked the boys, hey, who do you want to invite to the birthday? And thinking it's gonna be the friends of church. We want to invite Connor Huffman to the birthday. And it's like, okay, sounds good. He's definitely made an impact on them, and that's definitely cool to see. But as we get to wrap up the season, honoring all of our guys and just the team in general, it was cool to get to see kind of each of those guys. And really though, it takes all of us. It takes the entire team to be able to have an impact, to be able to move this program forward in the right direction. And we're really excited to obviously see where it goes, whether it's guys stepping up to fill the roles of a lot of those seniors, both in the on-field production as well as just how they've pushed this program forward over this year.
All right, guys, and we are back with a little AU football trivia. I have sophomore quarterback Carson Brookbank, sophomore wide receiver Preston Yoder. Welcome to our mini game show, boys. All right, so we'll start with the first question here. AU's most passing yards in a season is 3,839. What year was that set? 2019, 2001, or 2003?
It's 19.
It's not 2019.
2003.
It is 2003.
Let's go.
It is 2003. All right. That was really weird. The most total, I said like a Canadian. The most total points scored in a season is 399 with 57 touchdowns and 33 extra points. What year was that set? 01, 1993, or 1969?
01.
It is not 2001. Is it 1993 or 1969?
It's 93.
It is not 1993.
Oh.
All right. The most amount of PAT kicks made was in 1993. How many PAT kicks were made? 50, 35, 36.
36.
It is not 36.
Pressure on you. 30. I'm gonna go 50.
It is 50. If you would have listened to my previous one about how many touchdowns were in a season, you would have got that one right.
It all. Just be nice.
All right, so 1-1 right now, right?
Yeah.
All right. The most amount of punt return touchdowns in a season was set in 1971. How many was it? 1, 2, or 3?
3.
It was 3. It was 3.
I was gonna say 2, so.
All right, I'm gonna go to some players now. Nah, yeah, some. Okay.
2. Yeah.
The longest rush from scrimmage was set by Denny Kimmel against Earlham in 2005. How long was it? 90, 91, or 95?
95.
It was 95 yards.
Bro. So confident. Seems like a good running. I didn't know Earlham had a team. They did, and it got abolished in 2018. It's rough.
All right, you ready?
Nope.
The most passes caught by a single player in a game was 22 by Zach Talent in 2019. What team was it against? Taylor, MSJ, or Wilmington?
Say Wilmington.
It was not Wilmington.
It had to be MSJ.
It was MSJ. I gotta go with a little curveball here.
He was about to win.
I choked. I choked last time.
most amount of rushing yards in a single season set by a Raven was Denny Kimmel with 1,308 back in 2005. How many 1,000-yard rushers has AU football had in their history? Give me a number you can guess between a 1 and 10.
Let's go lucky number 6.
No.
I was gonna go 7 because that's my lucky number. Let's go with 5.
Should have stuck with your lucky number. It was 7. None of you are right. Another one.
No.
The most amount of rushing touchdowns in a season is 20, set in 1993. Which one of these fine gentlemen set that record? Denny Kimmel, Thomas Lee, or Trent Garrett?
Kimmel.
It's not Denny Kimmel.
What were the other two again?
Thomas Lee or Trent Garrett?
Let's go Trent Garrett.
Trent Garrett.
Thomas Lee! 3-2.
He's scary.
Let me do some numbers real
I
quick.
knew that one. That's that guy that's on his wall right here in Coach Williams.
Oh.
Okay. Joel Steele set the passing touchdown record in 2002 for most passing touchdowns in a season with 33. How many times is Joel Steele in the record for most passing touchdowns in a season out of the 10 spots?
Two.
It's not 2.
4.
Let's go!
Preston Yoder!
Go!
Let's do one more for fun. One more for fun. So now I'm going to.
Oh man.
All right. Coach Coddington has one career touchdown pass here at AU. Who was it against? Is it against? I'll give you 3 options:
That's gonna go.
Hanover, Franklin, or Manchester.
Team up north.
It is not the team up north.
I was gonna say Franklin.
It is Franklin. There you go. You have to get the extra credit right.